Hi, this is QuietStormzzzSpeaks, and I'm coming today a little different. Just wanted to, first of all, just thank you for watching my videos and like, subscribe, share. So as I said a couple months ago that I would be sharing my journey, I had about a year ago written a resignation letter. Because I knew that the season of me working for corporate was just about over. I was at the end of it, and all of last year, my theme was just, really speaking affirmations of what it is that I wanted in this life, and also just manifesting. That was my word for the year, manifesting. So 2022 came, and I was really feeling the crunch of still working corporate, knowing I should not even be there. My season by January 2022 had expired. I had nothing left to give. So I taken a vacation, went back to Belize, my second home, and came back, and I sat at my desk that Monday morning and wept. The spirit was just so heavy on me. I just knew again it was time for me to go. But, as I prayed, as I wept and I prayed and I asked God, how? If it's your will, then how? Please show me how, but please usher me out of this job. 2 days later, I had a very painful situation happen. I'd worked an entire year last year, really hard on an enterprise-wide project. It's the #1 project in the company. I managed a team. We had many, many, many things that came at us, problems, issues that we had to, think on our feet to resolve, find workarounds, and we installed that project flawlessly. Also last year, I had so many things happening at home with my daughter. It was the hardest year. I was in so much pain throughout my body, just holding on to stress from the year. But again, we installed that project flawlessly. So I had my annual review meeting with my manager, and I had hope going into this meeting. She starts the meeting by saying, last year was the best production year of your career. Wow, right? I reported to her for 10 years until November of last year. Then she said, however, which means there's more. You didn't learn an automation tool, which was part of your objectives for the year. And you were supposed to learn it by November. Well, I'm not going to get into semantics. The due date was 12/31. I did learn it. I learned it on 12/15, sent her screenshots of my success learning the tool, and she responded, that's excellent. That's a great start. And she confirmed that I'd learned it, never once said that it was not on time. So as a result of that, she then went to tell me that I hadn't earned my annual bonus. I was shocked. I worked so hard. I worked midnights. I worked 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, weekends. I took time away from my daughter, from my family to show up. And again, to perform excellent at a very high level because I was dedicated. I was dedicated to my job. I was crushed by this news. This was the first year after receiving a double promotion that my bonus would have been 10%. It's a significant part of my salary. So this was January 26th. I immediately logged off and began my journey. My journey of letting go, of realizing that my season had definitely ended and I absolutely could not go back. After it being my best performance year ever, getting no bonus and a 1% raise, which equates to about 44 cents an hour, I told her then, thank you. You've just escorted me into my new season. I knew that, I said to her that the value that they had assigned to me, the higher ups or whoever may be, they were trying to tell me a value or assign a value to me, and I said I emphatically deny it. I reject it. I'm better than this. I'm better than this job. My skill set far exceed what I'm doing here. I'm actually wasting time here, not working in my purpose, not operating in my purpose, because for many years I had pursued money. My addiction to money came from, and this is through counseling and processing and stuff, it came from my childhood, having to feel like, or having been made to feel like I had to do things on my own. I had to protect myself. I carried that mindset, or take care of myself. I carried that mindset through 2 marriages, through raising children. I'd never felt safe. And so I always felt that my safety was in working. Before working for this corporate job, I worked for a 911 call center. I got that job at 20 years old. I was making more money than even my elders, my aunts, and my mom even at the time. And I worked overtime around the clock, and I made good money. And I never once, this is what kind of drove me. Someone, when I was about 16 or 17, told me that I would be just another statistic. They said that I would be on public welfare and collecting food stamps, and I would have a house full of babies. Well, that fueled me even more to know that I had to take care of myself. So, or think that I had to take care of myself. So, my point with all that being is, through a lot of processing, and I've said this before, but now I have to live it, because I'm a person that can inspire a nation, and I, say many things that I truly do believe, but sometimes your words, you have to believe them for yourself. So what I've always said is that rock bottom, it is a very sacred ground. A lot of people say you don't want to hit rock bottom. You don't want to hit, that's the worst place you can be. I beg to differ. Rock bottom is sacred ground, because you can't go any further. You're at the bottom. That's where you say your most fervent prayers. That's where you cry your most desperate tears. It's a dark place, but between your tears and your prayers, it's cultivating the ground. That is where new growth begins. So again, after being with my therapist twice a week, really processing, I have to declare, even though I don't really kind of yet see it, I've just been escorted into the best season of my life. I have been freed, and guess what? My prayers had been answered. As painful as January 26th was for me, it was an answer to my prayers. And it didn't have to be that painful, because God had told me to leave that job years ago, and I didn't trust him. I was a fair weather Christian, one that said things like, ritualistically, like we always do. The sun will, it'll be better tomorrow, or, trust in the Lord with all your heart, or even my hope is built on nothing less. We've heard all these growing up, but guess what? It was a lie, because my hope wasn't built on nothing less than Jesus Christ and righteousness. My hope was built on that job. My hope was built on earning my own money. And my hope was not built on the purpose that I know that he'd given me. I've gotten to a place where I can't even sleep at night. This was before all of this happened, because my purpose was begging to come out. It was begging for me to let it out. And God had been showing me, how can anyone know the God that you serve? How can anyone know me if I've instilled all this in you and you hold it to yourself? If you're holding it to yourself, it doesn't glorify me, and it doesn't show anyone else who you really serve. What it does show them is that you believe, just like most people, all other people do. You go to a job day by day, and you do that until you retire and or die. So, again, I'm grateful to declare that I have hit the best season of my life on absolute faith because I've been shoved to it. I am walking in my purpose. I don't know what the rest of this year holds. Today is March 2nd, 2022, but I know whose hands I'm in. I know that every time I've ever fallen, God has just caught me. He's covered every single step I've ever taken. Surely He will cover this one, the biggest leap of all. Again, it wasn't a leap, it was a shove. If this hadn't happened, I would still be working there. So my whole point in this whole video is to, really the biggest point is when you pray or when you ask for things to happen and shift and move in your life, know that most times than often or than not, what will happen is that gifts and answers to your prayers will be delivered in packages you would never really want to open. I know that there's glory after this. I know that there is abundance of favor after this. To get there, I must continue to stand, even with everything that will come at me, with not seeing that direct deposit in my bank account every paycheck, every pay period, or not being able to continue the lifestyle that I've created. But also, in addition to asking God to remove me from that job, my last bit of surrender was my prayer to Him that Monday after I came back from Belize, and that was to make me new. My job had also became a part of my identity. It had become a part of everything, carnal thing in this world that I used to make up my identity, which comes with a hell of an ego, right? He stripped me from that. And so I'm grateful to, again, not just be able to walk in my purpose at this time, but to also be who God called me to be. And so now His light can shine through me. And when I say that my hope is built on nothing less, I'm walking it out physically right now. So I hope this encourages you. I know with the pandemic and post-pandemic, many people have left their corporate jobs, and I get it. I have spent many years working with stars in my eyes. I never could advance in this company. I had applied for 300 plus jobs, and I've got a nice resume. I've done some things, right? There's no reason why I shouldn't have been able to advance and advance and advance, other than it wasn't my purpose. So I had been redirected over and over and over again, and it took me really hitting rock bottom to say, it's time, and accept that it's time. So if you're in the same boat, if you're feeling the same way, surrender. Hear whatever it is you believe in, whatever it is you call on, receive it. Know what your purpose is, walk in it. Chase purpose, and the money will come, because you'll be protected, you'll be taken care of. So with this walk, I want to be more transparent. I want to come back on as often as possible, and I'm asking you all to journey with me, family. With the high highs and the low lows, I promise to be as transparent as I possibly, as wisdom allows me to be. You don't air all of your dirty laundry, but you have to be as transparent as wisdom allows you to be. This is the last mask that, again, I've worn. And so at this point, transparency is going to really be the blessing, not just for me and the freedom journey that I've been on, but I'm praying that it is also a blessing for many of you and helps to let you all walk in freedom as well. So again, this is Quiet Storm Speaks. I always leave you with the highest form of peace, and that is shalom. I wish you well. I hope you journey well. Journey with me on this, wherever we're going, wherever God's taking me, journey with me. And again, this is another message of hope. It is a message of inspiration, a message of peace, and always a message of love. Again, I always coin my messages as breadcrumbs for the journey. Again, journey with me. This is Quiet Storm Speaks.